What is good, everyone? Welcome to the channel. My name is Paul, and today I'm giving you very important information regarding rules and regulation changes for the climbing of Mount Fuji. You see, in 2024, the rules are actually going to change, and I'm going to lay them out for you. I'm going to do this video in 3 parts. The first part is giving you the information on how the rules have been up until now through 2023. Then I'm going to tell you what the rule changes are, what's different in 2024, and then finally I will be giving you my thoughts and opinions on whether I think these things are good or there will be problems with the changes. So if you are planning on climbing Mount Fuji this year or years going forward, this is a very important video for you to watch and share widely with people you may know who are going to come to Japan and want to climb Mount Fuji. So who am I to be speaking with any kind of authority about climbing Mount Fuji? Well, this town that I'm standing in right now, I lived here for 3.5 years. I have friends in local city government who keep me on top of news regarding tourism and Mount Fuji. I have summited the mountain myself 3 times, and I've been to the 5th station, the halfway point, on numerous other occasions, by hiking, by bicycling, and by vehicle. And finally, I actually teach a university course on Mount Fuji, where the 2 main themes of the course are local area promotion and Mount Fuji sustainable tourism. So that's basically the background I'm coming from, and I'm going to be speaking today specifically about the Yoshida-guchi, or the Yoshida Trail, which is the north part of Mount Fuji. There's one trail in the north in Yamanashi Prefecture, and that's the one we're talking about today. That is where the rule changes are going to be taking place. There are 3 other trails to the top of Mount Fuji. They are in the south in Shizuoka Prefecture, Subashiri, Fujinomiya, and Gotemba trails. Those are a different issue, but these rule changes are particularly important for foreign visitors to Japan because this is the climbing trail that most foreign tourists use, simply because the infrastructure is such that it's the easiest to get to. Most people take a bus or train out of Tokyo, come to Kawaguchiko Station at the foot of Mount Fuji, and then take a bus up to the 5th station from where they start their climb. So if you are a foreign visitor, you're planning on climbing Mount Fuji, this is probably the route you are most likely to take. Finally, when summer comes, I'm actually planning on climbing the mountain again with the purpose of seeing how the new rule changes are going and if it's working out, and I will probably go with a friend from City Hall. That's the idea. So please like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell so that you are informed of future videos. I do a lot of Japan content, but especially if you want to see that particular hike and get an idea about how the rule changes are working out, be ready for that video come summer of 2024. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about are the regulations or rules about climbing Mount Fuji up until now, through 2023. And if you've never climbed Mount Fuji before, these are still relevant. However, if you have climbed before or you know this information already, I'm going to put a timestamp in a subtitle below so you can see where you can skip ahead in the video to the next section, which is the rule changes. Now, the rules until now is that there actually is an official Mount Fuji climbing season. I can't tell you how many friends and acquaintances have come to Japan in October or April and said, "Hey Paul, can we climb the mountain? Can we make plans to go climb Mount Fuji?" And I tell them, no. The mountain is closed. You see, when there's snow on the mountain, like right now, it is very dangerous. The weather is extreme up there. If you're going to climb when it's snow covered, you need to inform local authorities so that they are aware you're making this climb and they can have emergency services available if necessary. You're going to need gear like crampons and ice picks and serious cold weather wear in order to climb that mountain when there's snow on there, because it is extreme weather, it's very dangerous. It's not for your casual hiker who just wants to climb Mount Fuji for their bucket list. All right, that is already established. So when is the actual climbing season? In Yoshida-guchi, or the Yoshida Trail, it is from July 1st until the Fire Festival at the end of August, which is August 26th and 27th. That is the official climbing season and when most people climb. Now, it's possible to climb out of season when there's no snow, kind of at the end of June or the beginning of September, but there's no services on the mountain. The mountain huts are closed, there's no place to go in and get warm or have a hot cup of noodles, and the restrooms are closed. Basically, if you try to climb at those times, you're on your own. Now, what are the rule changes when it comes to climbing Mount Fuji in 2024 and beyond? Okay, the Yamanashi prefectural government has done the following things. First, they have taken control of the road from Kawaguchiko up to the 5th station. So now the prefecture has control of what was formerly a national road. That way they have more control over limiting the number of people who can actually get up there in the first place, or the types of vehicles that can go up there, tour buses and the like. Next, they are going to be constructing a gate at the entrance to the climbing route to the top of Mount Fuji. That doesn't mean you can't go to the 5th station. You see, a lot of visitors come and they go to the 5th station and they eat lunch and they do some shopping and they take photos and then they come back down without climbing to the top. And you see, the actual climbing trail to the top is not at the 5th station. If you look at the mountain in the view we have right now, the 5th station is more towards the right-hand side of the mountain, and the climbing trail up is more in the center of the mountain. So, when you climb Mount Fuji, you actually have to walk across the face of the mountain before you get to the trail up from the 5th station. And that is where they are going to construct this gate. Now, what is this gate for? They are planning to limit the number of climbers during the season to 4,000 each day. Again, 4,000 climbers a day during the climbing season is what the limit is going to be. So they can potentially start turning people back at that gate. The other reason for that gate is they are going to close the gate from 4 p.m. until 2 a.m. every day. This is to prevent the so-called bullet climbing, the climbers who just want to climb up in the wee hours of the morning and be at the top for the sunrise. This is the most popular climbing time, and it is when most of the human traffic jams happen. So much so that there are a lot of cases of people who start a little too late and they end up stuck at the 6th or the 7th station. They're not even at the top when the sun comes up, and they don't get their sunrise from the top of Mount Fuji experience because there's just too many people and it's too crowded. So I understand this idea for the change. The final change that is proposed, and I say proposed because this is the only one that they have not ratified or completely decided on yet, that is charging a fee for climbing Mount Fuji. It might be 1,000 yen or some other kind similar monetary amount, but basically charging a fee in order to climb the mountain. What do I think about these proposed changes? First of all, I think that the monetary proposition is great. I actually hope they go through with that, because spending a little money to climb the mountain, I think, will make people take it more seriously, and that money can be put to good use in terms of garbage and litter collection, human waste removal, helping to pay for the emergency services on the mountain, etc. I think that the money could be used well, and generally speaking, I think that would be a good move. Also a good move, or at least a logical move, is the prefecture taking control of the road to Mount Fuji. If they want to have any control, so to speak, whatsoever about who climbs the mountain and when, they have to have control of that road and the buses and the other vehicles that can go up there. So that makes logical sense to me as well. Where I start to become skeptical is the 4,000 people limit. Now, you can't really get good estimates about how many people climb the mountain during the climbing season. There aren't good numbers out there. They estimate about 1.5 million people visit the 5th station, but that's a different thing because, as I mentioned earlier, not everyone who goes to the 5th station climbs to the top. A lot of people will actually, hang out there and then come back down. So the number of climbers isn't as clear. Is 4,000 a day a good number? I don't know. Maybe the governors, they came up with a plan based on the best numbers they have, and maybe that works out. It could be good. It could be too many. It could be not enough. I think we're in kind of a wait and see period. We'll see how that works out, if it really is a good number to limit it to 4,000 a day. So I'm skeptical, but I'm not against it per se. However, once we get into the idea of closing the gate from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m., I foresee some potential problems with this. First of all, you might leave a lot of tourists with a kind of bad taste in their mouth. They've come to Japan, they didn't know this information. Their big plan was to climb Mount Fuji while they were here, and they got the bots. They got the X. No, you can't climb up the mountain at this time, and they get turned away. Imagine how that would feel if you came here and that was a big part of your plan and then you were told you couldn't climb the mountain. Either because they already had 4,000 people, or you showed up at 7 p.m. and you didn't have a reservation at a mountain hut. You see, the only people who will be allowed to climb during that time are the people who have reservations in mountain huts. The issue there is those reservations go like that. Last year, at the end of March, beginning of April, they were sold out. All of the accommodations were taken. So at the time of watching this video, I'm making this at the end of January. In 2024, with the new rules, they could sell out even more quickly. So I recommend if you see this video now and you're coming in summer of 2024, I'd get on the web right now and make your reservations, because those accommodations are going to sell out. Those huts aren't very big. There's not that many beds or space for people. So yeah, the only people getting through have those reservations. There's not that many reservations, so that's going to cause people to be turned away for sure. Issues with that could arise is people who have Mount Fuji on their bucket list might not be deterred by this gate and might take matters into their own hands and try to climb off trail to get up to the trail around the gate somehow. That's a problem for a couple of reasons. Environmental damage, human erosion, more trash off the trail, etc. That's an issue that could happen if people are taking matters into their own hands to try to climb Mount Fuji. Plus, the rise in injuries that will inevitably happen. Mount Fuji is incredibly rough terrain, and injuries happen anyways. And if you're going off the trail, guess what? It's going to be very possible you could get injured in that rough terrain. And so emergency services could become more taxed. It could be a much greater issue in that regard as well. Another problem is people plan ahead and they're thinking, I'm spending my night on this date on Mount Fuji. So there might be people who get turned away who don't have alternative accommodation. They don't have a hotel room because they had planned to be on the mountain during this night. So what are they going to do? Are we going to have tourists sleeping in Kawaguchiko Station, kind of like an airport after flights have been canceled? Are people going to find a place to stay? Now, hotels and accommodation in this area have risen exponentially in terms of number of rooms and availability since the tourist boom starting about 10 years ago. But with no prior reservation or arrangements, getting a room on short notice could be very, very difficult, especially in the summer tourist season. So again, you might end up with a bunch of people who have nowhere to go. They've been turned away from Mount Fuji and they end up being stuck. What's going to happen to those people? So this closing of the trail from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m., again, I get the reason why they're doing it, because that is the most popular time. That's when the human traffic jams happen and a lot of the bad behavior and people doing bad things or being really frustrated because they couldn't get to the top. I get it. But is this the solution? I'm not so sure. This is going to be interesting to see. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below how you feel about these changes. If you have additional questions you'd like to ask me, I'm still a small channel, so I read all the comments and questions and I will get back to you. Also, if you're interested, I have my own ideas about how this could be done differently and maybe a little bit better. If that's a video you would like to see, by all means comment below and I will go ahead and make that video. Again, share this video widely with anyone you might know, and put it on Facebook in general so that people that you know, your acquaintances that might be climbing Mount Fuji and you don't know that they're going to be taking that trip, this might end up helping them out. So again, like, subscribe, share, and give feedback. I'd like to know what you thought of the video. Also, look forward to that video where I climb this coming summer. In the meantime, I want to thank you very much for watching this particular video. I hope it was useful, and I will catch you again. Peace.